Hello, hello. Today I'm going to be sharing snippets of the engineering process of my latest quilt and also the new fabric collection called Force of Nature. This workshop is sponsored by Estelle Center for Creative Arts in La Vida, Colorado. As you may know, I will be teaching there next summer. My class has filled, but there is still a waiting list. And if you'd like to sign up in case there's an opening, that's fantastic. I'm going to put a link here for their website. You can check out all the other talented artists and creators that will be teaching there as well. Now let's jump into the engineering of this quilt. Here is where I left off last time. I'm going to start by piecing the skirt and the waistband or belt. As you can see, the belt does not reach all the way across. And so I'm trying to decide, do I make the skirt narrower? Do I make the band longer? How am I going to cut this so that it fits? And what I decided is to add a piece of fabric to the right-hand side. And I'm looking for that right now, if you're wondering where I went. And here's a piece I think will work. So I am just going to stitch that to this end. And next I have to decide where to make the cut. And like the other improv cutting hat you've seen me do, I'm going to place the fabrics right side up on top of each other. Here I'm just going to straighten out the top of the waistband. And I really didn't need to do this, but I guess I was feeling extra tidy. So here I'm just thinking about, do I want to cover those leaves? Do I not want to cover those leaves on the bottom piece? Do I want them peeking out a little bit? Will that be distracting to the eye? Those are kind of the thoughts in my head. And there it is, all stitched in place. Next, I am going to add her ear. If you remember, her ear being the handle of one of the jugs I used for her crown. I have to figure out how to add that. So you can already see I've sewn black fabric all around the outside of it, and I did that in kind of a wonky log cabin method. And now I just have to figure out where to make the cut. If I make it too small or too far to the right, let's say, far to the right from where I'm looking at it, there, I just pulled it out. That is to actually give me a little bit more of a seam allowance, even though it's not a real seam allowance, because the ear has a black edge on the inside. as you can kind of see right there. And you won't see that when I stitch it on. Otherwise, that ear is going to get really, really tiny. It's already a bit small, so I didn't want to make it too tiny. And now I'm just pinning the edge so I know when I flip it over to sew it on so that it's lined up. And there it is sewn on. You can kind of see the wonky log cabin going around it there. Now for the crown. In some ways, I could have sewn the crown to the top of the head and then added the black strip, and that might have been a better solution. However, that's not how I did it. So you'll see how I improvised here. This is improv after all. I do really like how the crown turned out. Even though it started out as a hat and turned into a crown. That's part of improv too. A little bit of thinking going on here. I took it away and pressed those folds in so that I could cut the excess away. Has there ever been a time when I haven't needed a new rotary blade while I'm taping? Seems like I always need a new blade. So I'm pinning this so that I know where to sew it together. And here it is sewn together and sewn to the top of her head. And I am relatively pleased with how that is going so far. So next step is to figure out adding the torso to the head. And do I need a neck? Do I not need a neck? All those kind of things. And here's a top-down shot for you to get a better view. Here I have added her hand, and I'm playing with different orientations of where her hand might go. And here I've just cropped it a bit with that toilet paper method. Here's kind of an exciting point. There was a opening behind her right where this twig is, and I needed to fill it. And when I tried to match it with what was behind it, I found that I could line up the edge of the twig or the end of the twig with the line in her face. Now, this just made me super happy because this is the kind of serendipitous thing that happens, and it's like it feels like magic, and it's like, yes, I love that. I love that. I have to preserve this somehow. So here's a close-up of it. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to get that to attach to each other, but more importantly, here's what happened. Because I have to angle her head to get that line to line up, it changes her body position completely, and it covered up the bird. And so the next few hours was spent trying to come up with ways to make it work. And while I'm continuing to do that, check out the Estelle Center for Creative Arts.
Nestled in the breathtaking beauty of La Vida, Colorado, the Estelle Center for Creative Arts honors the legacy of Estelle, a beloved grandmother who inspired all those she encountered to pursue art and creativity in the context of community. Her love of beauty and imagination lives on through her granddaughter's dream to draw artists together in a place where they can discover their strength, freedom, and self-compassion, a place where creative journeys are cherished. At the Estelle Center, we host numerous instructional art retreats throughout the year, led by renowned artists, from quilting to mixed media to writing and more. We've got classes for burgeoning artists looking to expand their skill sets. The venue is also available for rent when you want to host a private retreat among friends. Our stunning Southwestern-inspired retreat center features a large, well-lit workroom and commercial kitchen, as well as 6 uniquely decorated, comfortable guest rooms located upstairs. Reignite your creative passion and purpose in La Vida at the Estelle Center for Creative Arts, where creativity comes to life.
Before we get back to the quilt, I thought I would give you a sneak peek at my next project and the fabric collection that came from this mixed media piece I created recently. This is actually the exact moment that I started playing with them after receiving them in the mail, and I am over the moon about the quality of the fabric and the wonderful print job that they did. The colors are what I wanted them to be, and I cannot wait to dive in. This is a panel that has what I call swatches on it. You can order that panel as a 1-yard cut. It gives you the panel and the swatches, but then there are additional fabrics that are not in the swatches that go with this collection. If you go to Spoonflower, you can easily, well, I'll just put the link here so you can find it. And better yet, let me scroll here for you so you can get a look at what's available in this collection. These are not on the swatch panel because I developed them after I had the swatch panel all done and printed. But I really love this print. So all of these prints were taken from a snippet of the original artwork. And these look like solids. They are like almost solid when you get them. Some are more solid looking than others. But for those of you who like to use solids with a tiny bit of texture, it's for you. Okay, back to the quilt. I have taken it off of the design wall and I'm now laying it on my table. This is where I do a lot of the final engineering of the quilt. I know at this point I like how it looks when I'm looking at it on the design wall. Now I need to make sure that I can make it work, as Tim Gunn would say. How many of you know who Tim Gunn is? Anyway, so this is where I decide what to cut. It's kind of a bit of a layering process, although some of that was done on the design wall, but this is the fine tuning. Next, I'm kind of evaluating where I want to cut, and or do I want to add more fabric? In this case, how close to the ear should I go? So here I'm getting ready to make my first cut. I've decided I'm going to take off that printed border. And here's what it looks like top down. If you recall earlier in the video, I liked that the branch matched up with her face, so I decided to elaborate with that. If you have watched my videos before, you know I like to say, if something is exciting to you, do more of that. Well, this is a perfect example of that. Here's another example where I stitched a stem onto the leaves, and this kind of visually ties the background to the foreground, which adds some maybe interest or intrigue or question, like, why did she do that? Here I am auditioning some blocks, trying to decide if I want to add a border. In the end, I decided I wanted something cleaner, less cluttered. And here are some close-ups of the quilting, which again is just kind of a scribble doodle style that I enjoy. And here's the back. It's almost more fun to look at than the front. And then my binding. I decided to go with this binding. It's one of my favorites. I decided to title this Where the Moon Learned Her Name. Just a little bit of mystery. Thank you so much again for being here. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll share, like, subscribe. I don't know, all that stuff. That would be great. It'd be fantastic. It helps a lot. I will see you next week. And on your way out, check out the Estelle Center. I'll leave you the link.